Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you this week's MLM Minute. Most of you guys know that have been watching this training that we do every week we've been doing it now for several years, is I do not believe in trying to close distributors. And they say, I want to close them in the business, or get your upline on the phone, let them close them in the business. I don't believe in it. I believe 70% of the population we don't want anyway. We're only looking for a small number of people. We're looking for people who are looking for us, people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, want to do something different in their life. And I'd rather just go through the numbers. And, you know, if most organizations, you look around, they got 50 people and 45 of them are there because they couldn't tell XYZ somebody no. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That's not the way this business is set up to be. So I do believe that you need to isolate an objection, and I'm going to just share this with you. Now, I don't spend a lot of time on this. I don't teach this in any of my training courses or programs, because I think the first thing that has to happen for people is they have to understand it's a numbers game, and they have to get consistent at getting through numbers, and some will, some won't, so what, who's next? And when you stop and you never get in that rhythm and you try to learn how to answer objections and you do all that before you get in a rhythm, then you can really get bogged down over here trying to answer everybody's objection and get them all the material they need, and you do all that and you never get in the rhythm of just getting through the numbers daily, weekly, and that's the name of the game. So I don't get into a lot of that in any of the training, because it's more advanced. It's like until you get in that rhythm, into that flow, what I'm getting ready to share with you is really not going to matter. But when you're talking with people, I mean, what we normally do is just get a DVD in their hand and say, hey, are you open for more information? And all I'm looking for is a yes or a no. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I want them to see the website, or see the video, or be exposed to Play 1, maybe get them on a conference call. We talk about Play 1, Play 2. And then I'm just going to say, hey, are you open for more information? And they're going to usually say, well, yes or no. And if they say no, say, no problem. If you were going to do this, who'd be the first person you talk to? If they say, well, yes, then I have a Play 2. Okay, so it's Play 1, Play 2. DVD, live meeting, DVD, conference call, whatever. Play 1, Play 2. Recruiting's a process. It's not something you go out and do. Okay, we've talked about all of this before. But sometimes when I say, are you open for more information, they will say something like, well, how is the company making money? Or something, like that. They'll have a question. And if and when that happens, you have to isolate that question or isolate that objection. Okay, now, so this is the concept. You isolate it. You get it by itself. You make sure that's the only thing that's an issue. Because sometimes you answer a question and then they come back with another question. And then you answer a question, they come back with an objection, and they answer a question, and it's just an ongoing, draining process. So if somebody says, well, how's the company making money? Then the response is always, if I can share with you how the company's making money, then are you ready to get started with us? I'm going to say that again. If I can share with you how the company's making money, then are you ready to get started with us? Or let's say they ask you something totally off the wall, which you'll get. You all know if you're working consistently, just stuff that has nothing to do with nothing. So sometimes they'll ask you a question, and you can say, well, if I can get that answered for you, are you ready to get started with us? Okay, so they get a question, and maybe you even know the answer. But you have to isolate it, and you isolate the question by, if I can get that answered for you, are you ready to get started with us? And that's going to tell you a whole lot. That's going to tell you if it's a true concern, or if they're just what a friend of mine, Pete Wanko, calls stiff-arming you. Some people just stiff-arm you. They just throw stuff out that makes no sense at all, and they just stiff-arm you. And because if that's not a legitimate concern, then they'll say, well, no, because I'm also worried about this, and what about that, and what about the other thing? So by learning to isolate the question or the objection, it prevents, and you do that real simply, guys. if I can get that question answered for you, are you ready to get started with us? And they say, well, yeah, that's the only question I really have. Great. Three-way and upline and say, hey, Joe, this is Dale Calvert. I've got Sally Smith on the phone with me, and she has a question. Sally, this is my upline. Go ahead and ask him your question. They ask it, they answer it. Okay, here's what you need to do to get started, and it's a real simple process. But understand, when you follow up, are you open for more information? People can say, yes, I'd like to learn more. Then you take them to play two. They're going to say no. They say, no, hey, no problem. If you're going to do this, who'd be the first person you talk to? Or they're going to throw out an objection or a question. When that happens, it's, if I can get that answered for you, are you ready to get started with this? And that will tell you so much. It will tell you, well, no, because I need to learn about this, and I want to know about that, and I want to know about the other thing. And because they say, well, I'm kind of concerned about this too. Well, if I can get that answered for you, are you ready to get started with this? And they'll say, no, what about the, and eventually they'll come down and you'll eventually find out what is the real issue here. And so many times, well, I really have to make sure my wife's okay with this. And you get down to what the root of the issue really is sometimes. So I hope that will help you. Think about it this week, because I tell you, again, you have to get in the rhythm of numbers. If you don't do that, what I just shared with you is not going to matter. But if you are in a rhythm, what I've just shared with you, isolate the question or objection, will help you a lot in your recruiting. It's Dale Calvert. We'll see you next week on the MLM Minute.